It's time to down tools for a bit. Welcome to the Tool Shed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Tool Shed. Been a little bit of a theme in 2024, and I'm not shying away from it, but we often talk about mental health and the challenges of mental health. We're always looking for tools and philosophies and techniques and platforms and communities to be able to help builders build a better industry, and this is a massive issue. That's why we're talking about it so much, and I'm super excited today to be talking to yet another, for me at least, exciting discovery, and it's called Build Up Australia. I'm speaking to Adrien Mamet. I hope I pronounced your name right. I forgot to ask you that before we got started, but I thought I'll go do it without a net and see what happens, you know. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mick. Appreciate it.
So tell me about, well, we'll get to Build Up Australia, but I want to hear your personal story first. Like, there has to be a reason why you evolved and it sort of ended up in doing what you're doing here. So what's your background? What's your story?
Yeah, thanks, Mick. Look, I'm a builder. Been in the industry for 35 years now, and during that time, yeah, I've seen it all. As they say, it's been a bit of a ride. So, started initially in the commercial industry, cut my teeth in commercial shop fitting and bigger projects and things like that, where you met a certain type of tradie on site. They're all hard men, and
Yeah.
really didn't show any vulnerabilities at all. And yeah, after I think it was about 16, 17 years in the commercial industry, working weekends, public holidays and things like that, I'd had enough, put the money aside. I just wanted a better work-life balance, as they say. So
Yeah.
I decided to come back to my roots and get back into the residential market. So became a residential builder, and in the hopes of maintaining that work-life balance, and started up my own construction company some 17 years ago. And for the first sort of 10 to 12 years, maybe 15 years, was in a situation where that business owned me
Mm.
outright, and it's something that I think we don't talk enough about. We all get into the trades and all that, and we're very passionate about what we do, and we like to start a business because we think to ourselves, we're going to do it better than the people that have been employing us. We've got something to prove. But what they don't teach you is just how difficult and lonely the business world is, how isolated it is once you move into that framework. So yeah, that was me. Doing it, like every other builder out there and every other construction business owner, just doing the hard yards on my own, year in, year out, and,
Yeah.
and thinking to myself, geez, have I made a mistake here? I was supposed to give me freedom, and it's the
Yeah.
last thing I had.
And
Last
it
thing I had.
happens, like, it's such a common story. Like, the reason that we go into business is more money, more time, freedom, and more enjoyment. What most small business owners get is less money, less time, and less enjoyment. The only thing you get more of is distress. So I'd be
Yeah.
interested to find out how you ended up at Build Up. Was it something that you had personal struggles with, or you were surrounded by people that had personal struggles? What got you into this line
Yeah.
of work, if you like?
Look, it came from a few different areas. So number one was, in 2015, I went to Vanuatu to help with a rebuild after Cyclone Pam, and I just packed my bags, packed my tools, a backpack of clothing. I was just adamant I had to get out there and just help, rehome people. Got to the airport, realised I didn't have a work visa, and the guy there's like, "You here for work or pleasure?" And had all my kit next to me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I'm on holidays. And he's looking at my tools going, you sure? I'm like, yeah,
I
yeah, no,
really
no, I'm
love
on
my
holidays.
work.
Yeah, yeah, I can't live without my tools. I take them on holidays. So yeah, I was the only person on the plane. So they end up letting me in. They're like, well, shit, it's not like you're going to make money here in Vanuatu. It's a third
No.
world country, and no one's got money. So I spent the next 3 weeks re-roofing people, and what happened, what that did for me was it filled something that was empty, and that was my soul cup. Um, when you become a builder, when I became a builder, I thought, yeah, when I get the awards I've got on the walls and all that, I've got a wall full of awards and all that. I'll have made it, and I'll feel like I've accomplished something, and got those awards, and was still left with that hollow feeling.
Mm.
That hollow feeling didn't go away until I came back from Vanuatu and realized I'd made a difference in the lives of about 100 people. 3 weeks it took me to affect the lives of 100 people. I went,
Mm.
shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it was probably that planted the seed. Now, on the other side, I knew as a builder, I was very good at my craft. I was a good carpenter. I was a great builder. I was a shit businessman. Right, I'll be the first to admit it. And it comes down to the fact that I'd spent 4 years in my apprenticeship, and then crafting my skills. Yeah, I've got two trades, crafting those skills, and then became a supervisor and crafted my skills further. Became project manager and continued crafting the skills. Started up a business, and as part of that business, I had to do 4 hours business management course in order to run my business.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the issue is. It lures you into that false sense of security, thinking, all right, well, I know my trade, and hey, I've done a 4 hour business course, so I can run a business now.
Yeah. That's
And
all it
that's where
takes,
everyone,
4 hours.
that's, I mean, yeah, So I realized that the business side was severely lacking. I'd had family members who had gone under, and I know it wasn't pretty. And my own father was a builder, and he went under, and when I was pretty young. So looking at the disastrous consequences that had on our family, I realized that I needed to educate myself. So there was that quest for coaches and to surround myself with peers. So it started with a group called IBN many years ago, Independent Builders
Builders
Network.
Network, yep.
Yep, great team of builders, and I thought I'd found a bit of a family in that, but the meetings we had were very unstructured and just imploded. So I then had conversations with a few other builders around the traps, Dwayne Pierce, Scott Bell from Peter Bell Homes, and a few other builders, and we were looking to start putting together a group of builders to start just sharing information. And it's probably about 5 years ago that we finally put a group of builders together, and we called it the Queensland Professional Builders Network. There was about 9 of us, and we started meeting once a month. And from there, we just, all of our businesses started to improve year in, year out. During that process, I had a roofer of mine who um, he was working on one of our projects, and the project wasn't going 100% well, and it was mainly due to the fact that I was struggling to get him on site. And what happened was, unbeknownst to me, he was suffering from mental health issues, and I was too bloody blind to see it.
Mm.
All I knew is that the pressures that were put on me as a builder to get this house wrapped up were enormous, and I suppose I didn't have the empathy required and the skills and knowledge required to identify the fact that he was struggling at the time. All I did was added to the pressure, added to the burden. Um, Long story short, that house ended up winning the Master Builders Awards that year. And 2 days before we were due to, go in and get the award sort of thing, he ended up taking his life. So stepping up to that podium to accept that award was a really, really hollow feeling for me. Yeah, we had won it. We'd created a beautiful home, but at what cost? So that sort of played on my mind. That was just before COVID. And, at that point, I had a whole heap of links to this chain, but nothing had been put together yet. And the crux of it came during COVID, where we had one of our monthly meetings. And during that meeting, they're very structured meetings. Okay. Everybody gets a table for a little bit, gets to talk, and we go through our bottlenecks, we go through our wins, and we go through our goals for the next month. During one of the presentations from one of our members, he started talking, and all of a sudden he just stopped talking, and he was looking around at all of us, and you could tell there was something on his mind. So we were waiting for him to talk, and he turned around and said, "Look, I feel comfortable enough to let you guys know right now that I'm really struggling with everything that's going on." Yeah, this was a height of COVID.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling. I don't know what to do. I feel a bit lost. And I went, okay, cool. Stop the meeting. I said, look, guys, just out of curiosity, how many of you guys sitting at this table in the past 4 weeks since our last meeting have either sat at your computer or sat in the car and just thought to yourself, why the fuck do I keep doing
Yeah.
this? What's the point?
Yeah.
And no sooner as I said those words, everybody stuck their
Put their
hand up.
hand up. Yeah.
So he's looked around and gone, right, I'm not alone in
Yeah.
these feelings. So the rest of that meeting, we were discussing that. And I think it was that day, I think it was April 4th, 2020, the seed was planted. Leaving there, I realized that we'd created something that enabled us as builders to not only help each other and help each other's businesses, but it was a proactive mental health initiative in that by solving a lot of the day to day things, we are able to mitigate those stresses that
Mhm.
lead to poor mental health. I got a phone call from my plumber, and he asked me to come and check out a quick project around the corner. So I thought, oh, yeah, look, I'm on my way, 5 minutes away. It's on my way home. I'll pop in. So I had a look, and that conversation at the meeting sort of was in the back of my mind. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to put this to the test. So I asked him, my plumber at the time, I said, look, mate, how are you doing at the moment with everything that's going on with COVID? And usual answer. Now, mind you, my plumber, 6'4", built like a brick shit house, kickboxer, and all that. Um, I go to him, hey mate, look, how you feeling at the moment? And standard answer, oh yeah, no, I'm good,
Yeah.
mate, I'm good.
Oh, good.
No worries, mate. I'm like, okay, so mate, it's me. I'm going to ask you again, how you really doing? And no sooner I said that, you could see his shoulders slump,
Mm.
like visibly slump. And he goes, Adrian, can I be honest with you? I said, yeah, I hope so. I'd like it to be. And he goes, well, last night I was sat on the end of my bed, and it's the first time his missus had seen him crying, and
Mm.
he was sobbing. The pressure that was put on construction business owners during COVID was immense,
Yep.
and it wasn't talked about. So you had these guys, 6'4", built like a brick shithouse, sat on the end of his bed, crying because he just couldn't understand and couldn't cope with the pressures that were being placed on him by everybody. And he had nowhere to turn to,
Mm.
no one to turn to, nowhere to turn to. It was at that moment I went, what we had created with our builders network had to be expanded to capture all construction business owners. Okay, there's a lot of initiatives and incentives out there to help construction business owners to look after their employees with their mental health and things. You've got the new psychosocial code of practice. You've got a whole heap. You got mates in construction that put things in place. There's nothing out there for construction business owners
Yep.
to look after themselves. Okay,
Mhm.
it's not like I can go out and pull out my project manager, pull him aside, and ask him and say, "Brad, I'm struggling a little bit here, mate. Do you mind if we have a bit of a chat and I unburden my issues with you because no sooner as I do that, he's going to look for another job.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't do that.
Hey, I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt, and I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Toolshed podcast. I've got something super exciting I want to share with you. We've got a place that's got a whole bunch more free resources to help you with your building business. In fact, there's a whole other podcast that gives you specific training that will help you get more free time, more profit, and more enjoyment from your building business. And it's called, funnily enough, the Toolshed. It's free to join, and it's full of other success-focused builders. And I invite you to join us in the Toolshed, where you can ask me questions and get guidance and support from other successful builders. Just click the link in the description to join, and I'll see you in there. I hope you enjoy the rest of this podcast. Just before, I just want to go back to, before we lose the thread of this, because I think it's really important that right at the start of the story, you mentioned that the guy who took his own life before the awards, when you initially thought that something was going on, you didn't have the tools or the knowledge, or you didn't take any action. And it seemed to me, the way that you said it, that you were probably a little bit too hard on yourself, because just like the whole thing about the 4 hours of learning how to run a business after, you're an expert after 4 hours. Like, the bottom line is there is no education unless you go get it yourself on how to run a business.
Correct.
And I think the same thing applies with the whole mental health first aid scenario. Unless you go out and seek out and practice the techniques and the mindsets and the tools to be able to be useful to someone who's on the edge, we just don't have it. So I think it's an important thing to let everyone know, hey, don't be too hard on yourself. I experienced
100%.
exactly the same thing with a member of the yacht club a little while ago, and there's just these feelings of guilt. What did I miss? Why didn't I pick it up? What should I have done? What should I have said? And that is unfair.
It really is. It really is, and it's unfortunate. It's another burden that a lot of people carry. Is that what if? It's what if I'd called him? What if I'd done this? What if I'd done that? And that just adds to your own mental health issues when you start beating yourself up about it. So, I realised, it took a little while. It did take a while for me, and I did have to work through it with some personal coaches. But I eventually realised that, okay, how can I honour his life, and that is by putting something in place that is more proactive rather than reactive, and that is where build up comes. So we've now got things in place in build up where if members don't turn up to a meeting, other members are tasked with actually proactively calling and making sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, they missed a second meeting. Next thing you know, they've got all members contacting them.
There's 7 cars pulling up in the driveway.
100%, 100%. It's, people go, oh shit, what could I have done? Well, this is what you can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
How important is community? Like, I just want you to tell us your experience with this, because my experience is I've been a performance coach for over 3 decades, much of that small business, and it's the traditional one-on-one stuff, and then about 9 years ago, we moved to a one-to-many model, and almost instantly, the progress that our members were making was 4 times faster than what it was when I was a one-to-one coach, and I certainly didn't get 4 times better. It's the community. It's so important. What are your experiences?
100%. That's what this is about. So, number one, I challenge anyone out there who started a business. If you think you can do it without a coach, you're mistaken. Okay, it's like trying to play any of your team sports without a captain and without a coach. It ain't going to happen. You're not going to win. Okay, you're going to lose every single game. So for me, if you're in business and you don't have a coach, you need to get into a coach, whether that's a business coach, a life coach, whatever. You need someone there to help direct you. The other side of the coin is you need a community. You need
Mm.
that collective, okay? Because as good as coaches are, they will give you all the resources and systems to implement to make business easier for you. But if you're trying to put out all those fires day to
Yep.
day on your own, you're never going to have time to implement those changes.
Correct.
So, what I found with surrounding yourself with a community and becoming part of a collective is you don't have to make the same mistakes, and you can lean on each other when you're going through challenging times. And you know if you're in business and you haven't been through a challenging time, I suggest you're not really in business. um you know, Business is all about putting out fires, and trying to mitigate any future fires from happening. So the best way to do that is to stand on the shoulders of giants, stand on the shoulders of the guys who come before you, and try to emulate their success, and try not to make the same mistakes. Learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so in business, you're either winning or learning.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Good point. Um, uh, and I want your thoughts on this because I think this is such an important part of being in a community. Is over the years I've often asked our members, what do you like about it? What's the best thing about it? And the answer I continue to get, that the most prevalent answer is, um, I thought I was the only one with these problems, but I've just found out everyone else has the
Not alone.
same problems. And and I say, so what you're telling me is the best thing about being in black belt is you all suffer together. Is that right? And I'm making a bit of a joke out of it. They all go, yep, that's the best bit. Like, how important is it to know that you're not isolated, you're not alone, you're not the only one with an issue?
Critical. It's critical. Um, here's the thing: we're indoctrinated from a
Mm.
young age to go out on our own. Even when you start a business, right? Those 8 words are uttered by every construction business owner. I've decided to go out on my own.
Hmm.
Okay, and it's something that we're taught from a young age. We start playing footy, 6, 7 years old. We're taught not to show any pain, fear, hurt. Don't share your secrets with the other team. Keep it all inside, and then you take that through, and then you end up as an apprentice on site. If you're really lucky, you might have one peer.
Mm.
Right, the lucky guys get through with another apprentice next to them. A lot of apprentices don't. They're on their own.
Mm.
Just come out from a network of a school network where they had heaps of peers to an adult world where they've got no peers, and from that point on, they're on their own. They end up becoming a carpenter, plumber, sparky, whatever. Then they start their businesses. Okay, once again, I've decided to go out on my own. So there's that feeling of solitude that rings through, and that is probably one of the reasons why the construction industry has such a high incidence of suicide, is because we're indoctrinated to tackle everything on our own rather than surround yourself with giants, surround yourself with a collective, and share that burden. So we get the same thing. New members that leave our mastermind meeting sessions, they utter exactly the same things. They're like, oh, I'm not on my own.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not alone in the way I'm thinking. So this is normal. We're often, we all do it. You look at Facebook and Instagram and everything. Everybody posts all the good stuff that happens in business, right? I'm not going to post how I might have lost $10,000 because this client's not paying me and things like that. Yeah, I'm only posting all the good stuff. So that tends to lure people into a false sense of reality.
Mm.
Okay, so you're looking at your competitors, oh, geez, they're doing so well. But then you look at yourself and going, oh, geez, this client owes me this much money, and this client's yelling at me, and this is happening here, and this is happening here. And how come these other businesses are doing it so easy? You sit down at one of these meetings, you realize they're not doing it that easy.
No, no.
Okay, you're all suffering in the same ways. And if you
Yeah.
come together as a collective, you'll find you're not suffering as much. You really are able to help each other a lot more to navigate the issues that come with running that business.
Yeah. Yeah. Community is so important. I want to learn about the pathway to build up. So somebody who is listening to us goes, shit, I'm in that shit sandwich. This sounds like a good idea. What's
Yep.
the story? What are my next steps? How do I do it? What can I expect?
Okay, so essentially what they do is they apply for membership in one of the chapters. It's not an automatic progression. We want to make sure that we put you in the right chapter. We want to make sure that there's a chapter available to you. Um, if there's a chapter available and you're the right fit for it, you'll get an email back to you stipulating that you have been accepted, and that is when you make your second application into the chapter, download the app, and you're placed into a chapter and get to you're introduced to all the other members within that chapter. The chapters are a maximum of 10. All right. And they don't change. Once you're in that chapter, it remains the same. And we don't mix sparkies and plumbers and things like that together. You're in a chapter with 10 of your peers. So
Yeah.
that there is, scientific reasoning behind that. And it's the fact that, only another builder understands the pressures I go through as a builder. Only another electrician is going to understand the pressures that an electrician goes through and is able to help a sparky.
Yep.
And that's it. So, we want members who have that abundance mindset. You need to be prepared to give and share and help. And what you do is by giving of yourself, sharing and helping, you get that back tenfold. Okay. When you're in a collective that just wants to share and wants to watch each other grow, you grow really damn quick. Um, on the flip side, we're also looking for mentors. Okay, so you don't have to be a construction business owner, but we've got a not-for-profit called Build Up Apprentice, where we are teaming up mentors to apprentices, so that they've got an advocate that proactively calls them once a month as well, to ensure that the apprentices are not being abused in their particular employment.
Yeah. Mate, this is so good. I've so enjoyed this conversation. It's it's so parallel to what Black Belt is all about. Like me
It is.
personally, I'm on a mission to positively influence the building industry because there's so much unnecessary pain out there. I'm a big advocate of necessary pain. If you've got to go through a bit of pain to learn a lesson, you
For
bring it on.
sure.
But the unnecessary stuff just grinds my gears, and much of it can be overcome in a preventative way with the sort of things that you're doing. I'm so excited and thrilled to have become aware of Build Up's existence and have met you. And I really, really hope that people listening to this reach out and have a conversation. So I just want to thank you for putting the time aside and being so generous and contributing to the cause and coming on the podcast.
My pleasure, Mick. Thank you very much for giving me a platform to have a yarn and get us out there. And I hope together we can make some massive changes within this industry, mate. It needs it.
Yeah, thanks very much for being on. It's just been a really inspiring chat from my perspective. So that's it, folks, for this episode of The Tool Shed. I really want you to reach out, jump on Build Up. We're going to put all of the links to be able to contact Build Up. Go in there, ask any questions, but it is so, so important. Like, I am an absolute advocate of being part of a community. It is just so, so critical. You could be the best builder and think that you've got your act together mentally and emotionally, but staying in your silo, staying in your cave all by yourself, you've kind of only got one direction to go. And it is so valuable being part of a community, not only to learn, but to support and share. And as they say, giving is better than receiving. So get in there and support. You'll get that same support as well. I'm a big, massive fan of these types of communities. So love you to jump in to Build Up, have the conversation and apply to become a member of a chapter near you. It can only help. So I hope this got you thinking. Moreover, I hope you take action, as I've said, but I hope this inspired you and helped you to understand you're not the only one having these thoughts of doubt and, challenge with, am I doing the right thing in my business? Pretty much everybody else is. So get together and share and support each other. It's absolutely the way to go. So that is all for this episode. I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. That is all. I am out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to The Tool Shed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.